Welcome into One-on-One, live on Suddenlink Channel 112 and live from Studio 318 at the beautiful Paul Miller Building in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It is a big day, a big show.
No, it's a normal Friday.
It's a normal Friday. But we'll get into a couple storylines that we're going to go over through the show and then have special guest on, Brett McMurphy, really quickly. The Alliance of American Football didn't just fold.
Collapsed. It's a quick fold.
They suspended operations, quote unquote, right? And then it's going that way. Tom Dundon, obviously the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, invested $250 million in a couple months ago. Bill Polian, everyone, they're disappointed in it. But now we've got the stories of the players coming back from getting told the league had folded. And in the lobby, all of their stuff has been moved. They're getting charged. So we will get into that later. Some NBA stuff. Steph Curry apparently was blind and couldn't shoot. And now the scary thought is he could get better.
Right.
So there's a lot to talk about today in the NBA, MLB, and in the Alliance of American Football.
Can't forget the Final Four.
And the Final Four, the weekend that everyone looks forward to. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, and be joined by Brett McMurphy.
One-on-One, do you buy? Tinker Federal Credit Union. Visit facebook.com/TinkerFCU. While you're there for your family, we're there for you. Tinker Federal Credit Union. And OSU Communications. Not sure where to park? OSU Communications has got you covered with parking tips and bus schedule information. We'll be right back.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Welcome back to One-on-One. We are joined now by Oklahoma State alumnus Brett McMurphy. How are you doing today?
Doing great, great.
Welcome back to Stillwater. You told me 1885, this is the year you graduated as Oklahoma A&M. I'm not going to buy that for a second. But what all has changed in Stillwater, not only athletically, but across the campus as a whole since you graduated?
Well, it was 1985, and actually one thing has remained the same. Mike Gundy still has a mullet. You know, he had one in '86. I left in '85. He still has one now, going strong. Yeah, it's just amazing how much the campus has grown. All the new buildings. Where I used to live is now a big parking garage. Sad to say. Used to live few feet from the hideaway. But yeah, it's unbelievable. Obviously, Boone Pickens Stadium, the new facilities for the Olympic sports is unreal. When I was here, Gallagher, Iowa only seated 7,000. Now it's, as you guys know, it's been expanded. So it's really, really cool. And, it's come a long way. I remember covering when Oklahoma State won the Big 12 championship in football in 12 or 13, whatever year that was. I was actually working at CBS Sports at that time. And obviously beating Oklahoma, that was a big win. But I'll never forget I was on Twitter tweeting about the game and something about Oklahoma State, and an OU fan responded and said, "Wait till next year." And I said, "Wait, an OU fan is telling me wait till next year. The world is going to end." So it's really cool. It's great to be back.
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, college football is your expertise. I wouldn't say that Oklahoma State has completely closed that gap with OU. Obviously, they're still winning conference titles, but Mike Gundy has done a tremendous job, and you do have that upgrade of the facilities. But what needs to change here for kind of Oklahoma State to really close that gap with the Sooners?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, people that are here now don't realize how much of a struggle Oklahoma State was in a long time ago. But I think that's a credit to what Gundy has done here, because he's didn't go to a bowl game his first year, now 12 or 13 consecutive bowl games, has won a Big 12 championship, was a missed field goal away, sorry to bring up bad memories, of going to the national title game, probably still should have played in the BCS title game, but didn't make it. But he definitely has raised the standard. Look, Oklahoma is not only one of the best teams in the Big 12, it's one of the best teams in the country. So there's a lot of teams that don't match up with Oklahoma. The good news is the gap has closed, and it's not as wide as it used to be. It used to go an entire decade where Oklahoma State would not only not beat Oklahoma, they wouldn't be competitive. So I think that has changed. It boils down to, recruiting's a big deal, obviously. The facilities is huge. That helps a lot. And, obviously the support of Boone Pickens has paid off huge dividends, and it'll continue to grow. And now every year Oklahoma State's in that conversation as a top 25 program going into the season. You never used to hear that.
Right, and it's April, but it's never too early for a little college football preview. Who are some teams people should look out for next season that you think could make the playoff?
Well, I've already done my college football playoff projections 10 months out. Like you said, it's never too early. I'm picking Clemson to beat Georgia in the national title. So if you're an Alabama fan, I'm the guy that's not picking Alabama. I think they will regress a little bit. If you look at the projected point spreads for the entire season, there's 6 teams that will be favored in every game going into the year. Oklahoma's 1, Alabama, Georgia, actually Michigan out of the Big Ten instead of Ohio State, Washington out of the Pac-12. So those are the favorites in the power conferences. And then from the non-power conferences, actually Memphis, may surprise a lot of people, is projected to be favored in every game this year. They open with Ole Miss. So I don't think Ole Miss will get to the playoff, but I think of those 5 teams right there I just mentioned, those are certainly the favorites to get to the playoff. I just don't see any way anyone beats Clemson, though. They're that good.
Final question, how far is the College Football Playoff Committee from expanding it? Because you have the teams like UCF who go undefeated, but the Power 5 teams don't feel like they should be in. But how far are we away from seeing more than 4 teams?
All right, good news and bad news. The good news is we're going to have an 8-team playoff. The bad news is you're going to have to wait 7 more years, because we've got 7 more years of the current deal with the College Football Playoff. It's a 12-year deal. We just finished year 5. So we've got 7 more years. There's no way that they can create an 8-team playoff in that 7 years. I know people wanted to have it happen now. They want it to happen yesterday. It simply can't happen. But I do think when we get to the end of this 12-year deal, then I think all of these schools will want more revenue streams. They'll want, more money. So by adding another round of the playoffs, that's how we get to 8 teams. So good news, you're going to get 8 teams. Bad news is you're not going to be at Oklahoma State. Well, I hope you're not at Oklahoma State in 7 years.
My parents probably wouldn't like that very much, but you never know.
I did the 5-year plan. If you want to try the 8-year plan.
I'm already on it, so it's perfect.
Congrats.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it more than you would know. So, Brett McMurphy, again, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back on One-on-One.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
Again, thank you to Brett McMurphy. That was an excellent opportunity. That was a fun talk. I wish we had more time, but don't stop watching one-on-one, but we are recorded, so you can watch us later at 11:30. He is going to be speaking at the Student Union. So that, again, thank you so much.
Student
Theater. Yeah, student. You can get lost in there, but we're going to jump back to what we kind of talked about to open the show and the Alliance of American Football. And Logan, it's unfair when a league folds like this or any business shuts down, really, but I think it happens. Obviously, I tell you this all the time. I may be wearing a button-down shirt today, but I know nothing about business. I talk sports.
You could have fooled me, Reed.
I talk sports, and that's literally about it. But when a business folds, I don't know how often their employees get paid or how that works. But you at least had the illusion that this was unfair, but they were going to shut down, save their money. But now the players are going back to their hotels, and their stuff is in the lobby. And then they're getting stuck with $2,500 charges for the rooms because they never got paid for. The players that got hurt were going to have their medical bills covered. Not anymore. Yeah. They're stuck with their own medical bills. The staffers were asked to stay on and clean out the offices and help refund some stuff without being paid. The email that came down from the board was from a generic company email. It wasn't from the president. It wasn't from Tom Dundon. It was just, hey, we're shutting down. We're ceasing operations.
Yeah.
This is as bad as it gets, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
Listen, they didn't have a lot of fans, but for the players, this is just awful.
Right, yeah. It's, like you said, super unfortunate. Like, you would expect when it folded, they would clean up all expense. Like, not paying the players I can understand, because maybe you need to use that money to you pay the hotel bills, pay medical bills, clean out facilities and stuff like that. I don't know if they actually have no money left for anything, but they act like it. I think it was really unprofessional the way players came back to the hotel with their stuff in the lobby with a big bill. Employees were fired and then asked to continue to work without pay. And I think they kept a small team on, but if not, you didn't get another paycheck either. Well, it's really unfortunate.
One, that would be embarrassing, unfortunately, to go back into a situation like that. And the illusion that, they were getting paid $70,000. No, a lot of these guys don't have much money,
right?
If none at all. Some of them are. One player who got kicked out of his hotel was 17 hours from home and had a car full of his stuff and was just left to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's sad that it ends this way, but there is some good news. Obviously, there's some players that are going to. The NFL did inform its teams, don't even talk to these players, and then the Alliance of American Football said, don't worry about it. This is over.
It's over.
So some players have been able to be signed. Keith Reeser had a stint with the 49ers and the Chiefs. He was the best player in the secondary in the Alliance of American Football. He had 3 interceptions, 12 tackles for the Orlando Apollos. He signs a nice deal with the Chiefs. The Panthers signed Rashad Ross, 29-year-old wide receiver, and there's been many other players that have signed, I think 4 or 5 now, since just this morning. But it's just unfortunate that Tom Dundon, Bill Polian, that it got this bad. The franchise in San Antonio, Logan, they still owe $4 million for venues and to their creditors for just training camp.
That's unfortunate. And you hope that gets paid, because those vendors deserve to be paid. I believe, did the Miami team use UCF Stadium? Or not the Miami team, but one team.
The Orlando team.
The Orlando team was using UCF Stadium, and they never even got an invoice for using the stadium or anything like that. I think they're owed at least $1 million, if not more. So, Tom Dundon's got a lot to answer for, because he's the owner of the league now. This was his investment. I certainly hope he makes it right and pays off all these venues at least, because, along with the players, we talked about how terrible it was for them and the employees of the league. The people whose stadiums and the vendors, everyone that worked during the games that weren't involved with the league in any way, they've also been extremely wronged here by, missing out on a big chunk of money that they're owed. So, Tom, this was, like you said, this was mismanaged. It seems from almost the start. It seemed doomed to fail. So, hopefully Tom Dundon can, do what's right and pay not everyone, because obviously I don't know if he can pay all the players and everything like that, but he needs to at least pay the vendors and, make it right.
Well, he stands to lose $70 million of his $250 million investment. Now, that's a lot of cash to just say, he's just losing $70 million.
Right.
But if you only lose $70 at $250, it's not a great investment. You're losing, but you're not losing all of it.
Right.
So it's unfortunate. But I would imagine that the lawsuits are probably already being filed right now.
Yeah, and what's unfortunate is those lawsuits, at least the ones probably filed by the players and the employees, they'll get a settlement. I would believe. Like, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving any legal advice. I'm not giving any kind of advice like that. But I doubt they see anything out of a small settlement, because Tom Dundon, they can just afford better lawyers than the players can.
Yeah, just quickly run through those players that have been signed to NFL contracts. As I mentioned, quarterback Keith Reeser to the Chiefs, wide receiver Rashad Ross to the Panthers, quarterback Garrett Gilbert to the Browns, Duke Thomas to the Vikings, and defensive back Devontae Bowsby to the Broncos. So
how many of those guys do we see in a real NFL game?
I think you'll see Keith Reeser.
Okay.
I think you'll see a couple of them probably make rosters, but not all of them.
Yeah, that was my thought. I was wondering if even any of them would make a roster, but
probably some of them.
Okay.
But ultimately, the majority of the league was not in the NFL for a reason.
Right.
And the majority of them won't be.
I'm surprised no one took a gamble on Trent Richardson again.
He did. Hey, we talked about it on Wednesday. He does now lead.
Yeah.
He will go down as the
all-time leader. Put him in the Hall of Fame, Reed.
Oh, we could probably start an Alliance of American Football Hall of Fame.
Would it last longer than the league? Could we keep it alive?
Literally has to last 9 weeks.
Can we do that? I think we can.
We made this show work for a year and a half,
true.
so probably. But 8 weeks is not a long time, so that comes to a crumbling end after a promising start. So the Chiefs, as I mentioned, signed Keith Reeser, and the Jets revealed some uniforms, Logan, that we've already said on the show we're not businessmen, we're
Yeah.
not lawyers, and we're definitely not fashion experts. Well, I think you look pretty good today,
Thank
but
you,
I'm
Reed.
not a fashion expert. These Jets uniforms, hire me to make the uniforms, please. Look at these. Oh, no. Oof. I didn't think it could get worse for the New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell wants to give that contract back. He's all about swagger. Those are the exact opposite of anything you want to be playing football in. They look like the Canadian Football League, the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They totally ripped off their uniforms. They went back to 1982 and ripped off the Philadelphia Eagles. What are literally, what are those? What are those?
Reed, you want to hear? I'm also not a fashion expert. You want me to prove that right now?
Yes.
I like these uniforms. I think they look pretty cool. I think they look cool.
Forget the Hall of Fame of Lions American football. Forget this show because
over.
you don't seriously like. You're pressing my buttons like I do with Trey Young. You're getting me back, and I can see it. I can see it right now. You don't really like those uniforms, do you?
I mean, Reed, can we get the picture back up there? Look at these things.
Oh,
You can't tell me
no.
you don't like that. Look at that. I like the lightning bolt or whatever that is. Whatever that's.
They're the Jets. It almost looks like they changed the shade of green. I mean,
It kind of does. It looks. Yeah. No, I don't like these, Reed. I was getting you
you.
back for last week.
well, I will return the favor as soon as Trey
Okay.
Young actually wins the Rookie of the Year.
Ooh.
But in all seriousness, I don't. Can you imagine the time and money that Nike and the New York
Yeah.
Jets and the people they consulted to kind of, and it's hard to really, when you're the New York Jets and you're green and white, to really revitalize the uniform and
Yeah.
really change things. But
That's not it.
that ain't it. That is not it. Whoa. But so not a fan of those. We'll have to consult our resident Jets fan, Jason Cliccio, to see how he feels about him. So the last little bit of NFL headlines here is RG3 believes he could have started for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You know, Reed, sometimes I believe I could have made the NBA, but I would have to have grown a lot more, been a lot more athletic, Reed. I don't know if you've ever seen me run, but it's not very good. And, I'd have to be able to dribble. So, but I think it sometimes. I have the confidence that I could. It goes away in like 2 minutes, but I think RG3 knows that he could have. He was once a starter. He was a really productive rookie. Had an injury and kind of derailed his career. They were trained for him to be the backup, plain and simple. He was not.
He's not.
He was not ever going to be the starter. I don't really care that he said that. He's got the confidence. You have to have that to survive in the NFL. I feel so.
He can't start over Lamar Jackson. So
Yeah,
there is that. So I don't think he could have been able to do that.
I don't think so either.
But if he, like you said, if he believes that, then good for him. But I don't buy it one bit. So he's still the backup. So we'll jump to the NBA. Steph Curry is the most
Oh my
lethal
gosh.
three-point shooter in NBA
And
history.
he was blind, Reed.
And he was doing it with blurry vision. He gets contacts. He's a career 43.6% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
This season, he is 43.8. Since he got contacts on March 17th, or 16th rather, 48.7%.
Do they need to? They need to move the 3-point line back just for Steph. Look at this pass, by the way. That's also from the contacts.
Well, his optometrist apparently is a Warriors fan.
Yeah.
They're
Look at that. Just you can't even. How do you even?
and at that exact moment, JaVale McGee has had a ton of these thoughts, but at that exact moment,
Yeah.
he was like, I made a mistake
Should have stayed.
going to Los Angeles.
Yeah, but I want to see how good Steph Curry can get now that he can apparently see like the rest of us. The Bleacher Report headline I think was Steph Curry broke out of a sub 37% shooting slump by getting the contacts. Reed, do you know how many players would love to shoot right around 37%?
Everyone in
Everyone.
the NBA.
37% is awesome. If
That's
you
a
shoot
Hall of Fame night for Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely. If Russell Westbrook shot 37% from 3 for a season,
Yeah. Well,
he'd probably win the MVP again.
he would, but I mean and you can't argue with the results. You can't say, it's
Yeah.
not a thing. He jumped almost to 50%
Yeah.
since he got these contacts. So if
It's crazy.
it's unfair. It's unfair that he had something holding him back, and he was on pace to be the most prolific. He is going to be
Yeah.
the most prolific shooter in NBA history.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. Not good if you're, if you despise the Warriors like most people in Oklahoma do,
Yeah.
because they're Thunder fans. So now we're going to play a quick game of the teams that have been eliminated
Okay.
from the NBA playoffs. We're going to go through the list, and I'm going to simply ask you. You can go as long as you want, short as you want,
Okay.
but I'm just going to go starting East, and you tell me what they need to not be eliminated next year, to make the playoffs in 2020. So starting in the East, the Washington Wizards.
They got to do quite a bit. I think John Wall has to come back healthy and at full strength, which I don't know. That's hard to do after an Achilles injury.
Well, yeah, and you fall and tear. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't even get
Right, he
on
fell
the
at
courts.
home and tore his ACL. So John Wall has to come back healthy. I think Bradley Beal has to continue to play the way he has since John Wall's been out. He's been awesome. He might make All NBA because of what he's done since John Wall went out. And then you got to add something else. You know, Bradley Beal and John Wall. They thought it was Otto Porter, but those two combined, they're enough to get you to the playoffs if they're both healthy. But I don't think John Wall hasn't played more than 55 games, I think, in 2 or 3 years. So he has to be healthy, and I think you have to get another guy in the draft. You have to get, and they won't be ready right away unless they get that number 1 pick, and it's Zion. But they have to get another guy that can handle the basketball and make plays for someone else besides John Wall or Bradley Beal.
It'll be interesting, and
they might have to get a new coach. I don't think Scott Brooks is the answer.
Well, the Thunder might get rid of Billy Donovan, so
Yeah.
maybe we see a reunion there. I really hope not.
hope
but
not.
all right, now the Hawks. They do have the Rookie of the Year, but where do they?
No, they don't, Reed.
But where do they
No, they
have?
don't.
Where do the Atlanta Hawks have to improve?
I think they just have to get older. I think they have a really nice young foundation with Trae Young, who is not the Rookie of the Year. John Collins
They
is
haven't
really
given
good.
out the award yet, so
You know what? You're
pump
right.
the brakes there.
Yeah. John Collins is also a really nice young piece. Whatever they get in the draft, they could get lucky, and if the Mavs fall past, or if they fall to 6 or lower, they're gonna have 2 lottery picks in this draft. So I think they can add some good pieces in the lottery this year. I think they just have to continue to build around the young core.
All right, now the Chicago Bulls, and you can't go 20
They got to
minutes,
reset.
Logan.
They got to hit a hard reset, Reed.
Sell the team, bring Michael Jordan back.
That might help.
Are they the worst team in basketball?
No, I think that's still the Knicks. Sorry, Jason. I almost said yes, but I think Zach LaVine. They're not going to have Jabari Parker next year. Chris Dunn's not the answer at point guard. Wendell Carter Jr. has been really good. They got to add a lot of stuff to make the playoffs. They'll be out of the playoffs for quite a long time. They got to find the right coach too. That's really important in the NBA. Fred Hoiberg obviously wasn't the answer. I think finding a coach and finding a coach that'll work with the talent they have is the biggest key.
The Cleveland Cavaliers.
They need LeBron. They just got to draft the next LeBron. I will be so upset, Reed, if they get the number 1 pick and get Zion. They do not deserve it. David Griffin has done nothing.
It wouldn't be. It's not impossible.
LeBron would come home again, maybe. If this Lakers deal doesn't work out, he can go play with Zion.
Maybe the New York Knicks. Sell the team. I said for the Bulls.
Yeah,
this
sell
might
the team to
actually
Jeff
be the
Bezos.
key.
Charles Oakley said on a little thing with the Ringer that Jeff Bezos wants to buy the Knicks. So if he buys the Knicks and they get KD and Zion and Kyrie, then they can make the playoffs.
All right, starting in the West really quickly here. Sacramento Kings. They're close.
I think they just have to get another piece, maybe, and it might just be Marvin Bagley getting older. He's playing really well for them, but he comes off the bench. If he can carve himself a starting role, I think that trio of De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Marvin Bagley could be a really good young trio going forward. So I think they just have to get older and continue to, it's so weird to say, but build the way they have, because they've done a really good job since they've traded DeMarcus Cousins.
Timberwolves.
They got to find the right coach. They have to maximize Karl Anthony Towns' potential, because he's obviously the best player on that team. You're stuck with Andrew Wiggins. Unfortunately for Chris and all other Timberwolves fans, Andrew Wiggins is there to stay. That contract is unmovable. So, and they're going to have to figure out what to do at the point guard position, because I think Jeff Teague is way too old. So get a good coach, try to do what you can with Andrew Wiggins and get a good point guard that can get Karl Anthony Towns the ball.
Los Angeles Lakers.
Draft Zion. No, I'm just kidding. LeBron has to turn it on and recruit some of these guys, because I don't know if Lonzo Ball is going to develop into something special real soon before LeBron is, past his prime. I don't know if Brandon Ingram's going to be ready. I think Kyle Kuzma is who he is at this point. I don't know how much better he's going to get. So they have to get another all-star level player to take them to the playoffs next year.
New Orleans Pelicans.
They got to reset. They're stuck out of the playoffs for a long time. They couldn't even make the playoffs with Anthony Davis. So I don't think Anthony Davis, he might be there next year, but he's definitely not there in 2 years. They just got to restart.
Dallas Mavericks.
Get Porzingis healthy. Luka, get those two together, and get a point guard, another guy that can run the offense, so Luka doesn't have to run it all the time.
Is Rick Carlisle there to see
I
this
think
out?
so. I think Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the league.
The Phoenix Suns.
Everything. They need a point guard. They need a small forward. They need a power forward. They need a coach. They need a bench. They need it all, Reed.
Hey, Devin Booker scoring
Devin
like
Booker
85
and
a
DeAndre
night.
Ayton are nice pieces, but you need more.
They do need more. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to obviously stay in the NBA because there's some more storylines. LeBron, off-season's critical. No kidding. Thanks for stating the obvious, LeBron.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break, get into that, and the NCAA Final Four. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Air National Guard. Contact Oklahoma Air National Guard at 800-GO-TO-ANG or visit their website at goang.com/OK for more information about how to get 100% college tuition. And Unitarian Universalist Church. If you're looking for a church home, visit Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater, located at 320 South Stallard Street. They offer an alternative spiritual path and welcome all races, religions, and beliefs. They are also LGBTQ friendly. Services every Sunday at 10:30. We'll be right back.
Determining your future by selecting a major can be difficult.
It's okay to be undecided.
Connect with the College of Arts and Sciences, where your options are endless.
Where you can uncover your passions and achieve your goals.
Express your creativity by exploring a career in the visual and performing arts.
Investigate new discoveries to make the world a better place with a career in science.
Advance knowledge, communicate progress, and contribute to a healthier planet with a career rooted in the social sciences.
Discover your career by looking at the world from different perspectives through the humanities.
Realize a better tomorrow through problem solving and mining data that can change lives.
Cash for Crazy to succeed through internships, study abroad, student-guided research projects, and service activities.
With 109 majors, 52 minors, and 24 departments, the only thing missing is you. College of Arts and Sciences.
Connect.
Achieve. Succeed.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
This spring, I invite you to shop in downtown Stillwater. Downtown Stillwater is home to locally owned shops, boutiques, eateries, and dependable professionals that you can trust. Find the perfect gift for your graduate, have a delicious meal with mom, or just stop in to enjoy great spring savings. By creating a demand for local goods and services, you can ensure a place for the local businesses that help give our community character and keep it unique. On behalf of Downtown Stillwater, thank you for shopping local.
Welcome back to One-on-One on Suddenly Channel 112. One more quick NBA storyline here, Logan, and then we will jump into the Final Four. As I mentioned, LeBron said the offseason is critical.
Yeah.
I think that is beyond obvious, but I mean, what else is he going to say at this point?
Right.
They need to add some additional pieces, as you stated earlier. But the stat line last night from Giannis against the 76ers, and he is Joel Embiid's kryptonite. So if you were not a big Embiid fan, he is everything that you want. They clinched the NBA's best record already. They've clinched home court advantage throughout the playoffs, the #1 seed in the East. And Giannis is probably going to be the MVP. Last night,
I hope so.
In a 128-122 win over the 76ers, the stat line, 45 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks.
Man. Shaq said he's better than he was at that age.
I think he's more athletic.
Yeah, and he's, he can move a lot quicker. I think he's a better passer. It's crazy. Giannis, I think he was the 13th pick in that draft. Everyone talked about how great he could be, but he fell so far because, it was all potential. No one knew. And I think he probably weighed less than I did coming into the league, Reed, and now he's, ripped out of his mind, and he's improved so much. He's well deserving of the MVP this season. And I'm not a big Sixers guy, I'm not a big Joel Embiid guy, so I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that stat line. And I don't know. I just like it when he loses.
Well, and the thing that you have to love about Giannis Antetokounmpo is all the guys in the NBA, the old school guys can't stand it because everyone's buddy. No one's throwing elbows right when they go down the lane. It's kind of a soft league, as the old school guys like to call it. Giannis doesn't like to be friends with those guys. He doesn't like to buddy. He likes to have rivals. He likes to say things that'll get under people's skin, and he backs it up on the court. So he's kind of an old school, although he is from Greece, he kind of brought in that attitude of like that 80s NBA, and I love that about Giannis.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't remember who asked him why or if he's friends with these people, and he's like, no, I don't want to be. Why would I want to be?
Wojnarowski.
I think so. And you hear that he's working in the offseason with Kobe Bryant last year and stuff like that. He seems one of those guys that's hyper-focused on getting better at something every offseason. And it's shown. He's improved every year of his career. He's doing things that we've hardly ever seen from anyone at his size. So, and he seems like one of those guys, we see a lot of the movement, Kevin Durant going to Golden State, LeBron to Miami, then to Cleveland, now to LA, the player movement kind of deal. I think Giannis is one of those guys that wants to be in Milwaukee until the end, or unless the situation gets absolutely unbearable. But, he seems to be, like you said, kind of have that old school mindset, and it shows, man. He goes at everyone every night. He plays so hard. I don't know if he plays harder than Russell Westbrook, but he's close to that level of intensity every night, and he always wants to be out there. He's not about the rest and all that kind of stuff. So, very deserving of the MVP, and what a monster game.
Milwaukee's lucky. Milwaukee's very lucky that they snagged Giannis at 13. So now let's jump to the Final Four. We'll go over the men's and women's. We will start with the men's. Obviously gets underway tomorrow night, and then the national championship game we can break down, go analyze that on Monday. So we'll stick to these two games first. How can each team win the national title?
So obviously for Texas Tech, it has to be with their defense. I think that's the same with Virginia as well. I think Virginia might be 1 or...
Virginia is 1 and Texas Tech is 3rd in points allowed. 59 for Texas Tech. Virginia's sitting at 55.4.
Yeah, so I mean, two of the best defensive teams in college basketball. And that's kind of how you win these days, A lot of these guys, they're 19 and 20-year-old kids. They're not staying until they're juniors and seniors in school anymore. So it's kind of hard to implement an offense and get a team all on one cylinder running, complex stuff. So it's much easier for you to play hard defense and win. And I think Texas Tech has a better shot of winning with their defense than Virginia, because we've talked about it a lot, Reed. Virginia, if they get down, it's over. Whew. It's over. If they have one way to win, and it's by holding you to less than 60 points. So, if you get 65 and up, you've probably beaten Virginia. Texas Tech, on the other hand, they have more NBA caliber players, and they can score easier than Virginia can. Michigan State, it has to be with Tom Izzo, the most experienced coach in this group of Final Four coaches. He's Mr. March. I call him Mr. March. He's one of the best coaches around this time. He's one of the best coaches in general anyway. But, they took down Duke. He comes up with a game plan like no one else in this Final Four. So, and they have just the opposite, Reed. I just said, a lot of guys are going to the NBA early. They have a lot of upperclassmen that know how to win, how to play. So I think they win with their veteran leadership and their coaching. Auburn, they just have to outshoot everyone. They've made it this far by outshooting everyone, and it's blown me away every time. I think they're going to lose every game, but then they just keep hitting threes, so maybe they'll just keep doing that and win the national championship.
Yeah, they lose Chumo Kiki and the third leading scorer, leading rebounder, and
it doesn't affect them.
They beat Kentucky in overtime. So I'll run through those stats really quickly, like I mentioned earlier. Virginia 71.3 points per game. 55.4 allowed, that's for best in the country. Kyle Guy, 15 points per game, which isn't...
That's one of the best names in college basketball. Kyle Guy.
Okay. Sometimes you just say stuff and it's like a light bulb goes off. We can't detour it on too much.
Okay.
But he's in a little bit of a spat with Mark Emmert, the president of the NCAA, because he said he couldn't even register for his wedding. They couldn't have a wedding registry because the NCAA wouldn't allow it. Emmert come out and said, oh, that's not true. I believe Kyle Guy. Because typically... when the NCAA is involved in something like this, they are the bad guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a typical NCAA story. It's not, why would Kyle Guy say this if it wasn't true? Like, there's no reason for him to be like,
he didn't make it up, I'll tell you that.
He doesn't have any interest in saying the NCAA is not letting me register for my wedding. And, the president, like you said, comes out and has a big, no, we would never. But that's all they do. Like you said,
they care about the athletes.
That's true, Reed. They're student athletes, though. Students first. That's what they care about.
Maybe
Education.
the worst commercial
Ever.
ever.
It's up there with the Kylie Jenner Pepsi commercial.
It might be the most they are missing the mark so much. And they're probably fooling some people with it, but that's not the way NCAA athletes actually operate. But that was Virginia. Auburn, 81.1 points per game, allowing 69 points per game. That's 111th in the country. But what's interesting enough, Michigan State scores 78.6 per game, allows 65.2. That's less than 4 more than Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn's 111th in the country. Michigan State's 34th. So that shows you how narrow that half a point could mean 10 places in those rankings. Texas Tech scoring 73 a game, and they're third at allowing 59. So by far the best 2 defensive teams in the country and left in this tournament are Virginia and Texas Tech. Chris Beard, by the way, named AP Coach of the Year. Very well deserved for Coach Beard. So you've told me how each team can win. Which team's going to win? Number 5, Auburn versus number 1, Virginia. Which way does it go, Logan?
It's got to go Virginia, Reed. Auburn shooting has to run out eventually, right? Steph Curry's not on this team. I don't know if any of their players need contacts, but that's not going to save them. I hope not against Virginia. I want to see Virginia make it to the finals. Hopefully they can win the finals after what happened to them last season. Obviously, being the first 1 seed to ever lose to a 16 seed. So I think Virginia's going to win. Auburn shooting will finally run out.
Whew. I think it'll run out. And it'll run out next year.
Oh.
When you have a matchup like this, you've got a bankroll with the Auburn Tigers, okay? The shooting, and if it's bad, Logan, they'll lose by 20 points.
Yeah.
But you have such opposite styles of play. You have that loose, free-running, shooting Auburn team who Bruce Pearl is losing it on the sidelines. He's sweating through his shirt, and we're not even to the first TV timeout.
Right.
Coach Bennett is the exact opposite for Virginia.
Yeah.
He's calm, cool, collected, very respectful. They play hard, disciplined, defensive basketball. They like to be in low-scoring games. That's how they're going to win. So something's got to give.
Yeah.
But since we're in the NCAA tournament, we're no longer in March, but it's April Madness now.
Yeah.
Give me Auburn. Is it the smart pick? Absolutely not.
You might look smart on Monday.
But it's the NCAA tournament pick. Give me Auburn by 6.
I will say this, Reed. Carson Edwards had, I believe, 10 threes and 42 points against Virginia, and that didn't faze him at all. So I don't know if they can be as shaken as they were last year whenever they got down to UMBC. I think if Auburn does go on some kind of barrage, they can withstand it. That's why I'm picking Virginia.
Oh, you're the smart pick. That's the smart thing to say.
Which is kind of boring. I'm also the boring pick.
Yeah, but boring probably wins you bets.
Maybe, yeah.
Crazy sometimes does, but most times does not. So you were taking Virginia. I will take Auburn. Now we'll go to the other side of the bracket. Number 3, Texas Tech, the lone remaining Big 12 team, and they have been for a long time, versus Coach Izzo, the March Wizard, in Michigan State.
You go first. I'm still thinking this one over.
Give me Michigan State.
Okay.
Because I'm going the exact opposite of the theory I just used for Auburn. You have the experience. You have Coach Izzo, all that wisdom, and you have experienced players. Coach Beard's experienced as well. He's a great coach. But Tom Izzo has a lot more NCAA tournament games under the belt, and you've given him almost a week to draw this up. Give me Tom Izzo and the Spartans. I think it'll be close, but I'll go 65-64 Michigan State.
Okay, just for the sake of being different then, I'm going to take Texas Tech. I think their defense will withstand. I think Michigan State's going to have a hard time scoring. I think Jarrett Culver he's going to jump in the draft stock after this. I think he'll have a big game against Michigan State.
So you don't think he comes back to Texas Tech?
I don't. I think he's a projected lottery pick right now. I think he's going up to the NBA.
So your national championship game would be Texas Tech versus Virginia. Mine would be Auburn versus Michigan State. We can go over this Monday, and we will have to choose on Monday because we will know which teams are playing.
Right.
But going off what we said, I will take Michigan State over Auburn in the national championship game. Will you take Virginia or Texas Tech?
I'll take Virginia over Texas Tech.
So your national champion is going to be the Virginia Cavaliers a year after being the first 16 seed to lose to a 1 seed.
Yep.
Complete 180. Is it worth it? Does a national title?
Yeah, I think so.
When you have to live as a meme for 11 months.
But then you can be like, I won a championship. Who cares?
All right, you be Kyle Guy.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kyle Guy. I wish I could register for my wedding, but they said I can't.
I remember you lost to a 16 seed. I remember
did.
watching that game.
Yeah,
I worked that month. I didn't see you win a national, but I remember when you lost.
But I won a national championship. What's your name?
Where's your ring at?
What's your name?
Oh
yeah, I don't even know who you are. I won a championship. I'm Kyle Guy.
Well, I'm the point guard for UMBC, and I had. I'm a legend.
There you go.
So I never have to pay for anything in Baltimore County ever again.
There you go.
So who's the real winner here? Kyle Guy.
Definitely not Kyle Guy. He doesn't have a wedding registry.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about everything going on in Oklahoma State athletics. Not a good midweek set for the Cowgirls and Cowboys, but they look to rebound this weekend, and a legend is coming to Alley P. We'll be right back after this.
One-on-One is brought to you by Oklahoma Christian University. Get your master's degree in accounting, business administration, theology, engineering, computer science, or cybersecurity from Oklahoma Christian University. Apply at oc.edu/grad. Oklahoma University is committed to offering the best graduate school experience we possibly can. Come learn and grow with us. And The Table. Stop by The Table on Thursdays at 8 p.m. to join their Bible study. Shoot Rachel an email at rachel@thetableosu.com for more information. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to One-on-One, the final segment of the week. Wednesday, we go off the show. The Big 12 and Big East announced that they're going to have a little bit of a matchup here at the beginning of next season. OSU will play host to historic Georgetown in the 2019 Big 12 Big East matchup. That is about as good as it gets for Oklahoma State. That's probably the premier program in the Big East now.
Yeah, probably. You know, added Patrick Ewing as the head coach, Mac McClung. I don't know if he's a great player, but he was great on Instagram in high school, and he's had a couple of good games this season. Yeah, that's a great game. That'll be a great game. In GIA, that'll be awesome.
Well, hopefully Georgetown and neither Georgetown or Oklahoma State had great seasons.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're both in the rebuilding process. Hopefully they will both be really good teams next year, contribute to their own RPIs, and get through this thing next year. Hopefully we're having a discussion about Oklahoma State basketball at this time next year, not who they're going to be playing in 2021.
Right.
So I'm going to run through these matchups for the Big 12 Big East matchup. Marquette at Kansas State, Kansas at Villanova. That'll be a great one. That will be a great game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma at Creighton, Texas at Providence, Butler at Baylor, as we mentioned, Georgetown here in Stillwater, Seton Hall at Iowa State, Texas Tech at DePaul, West Virginia at St. John's, and Xavier at TCU.
That's a good little matchup, you know. We've had the SEC matchup for the past couple of years. I like playing in the Big. That's a great basketball conference in general, though. The Big East, you got Xavier, Villanova, Georgetown now. That's awesome. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a great.
What conference wins the series right now?
If they played this year,
yeah, sure.
Probably the Big 12.
Okay.
I mean, Villanova, Kansas would have been interesting this year. Actually, they did play this year, right?
You might be right. I'll look that up real quick.
I know they played at least at some point in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. The top teams are kind of interesting here, but Kansas State, Texas Tech, and OU, a lot of sub 500 teams.
They did. Kansas beat Villanova this year, 74-71.
Yeah, so I would give it to the Big 12 probably. But next year is always a new year. Hopefully Oklahoma State can get that win over Georgetown, but that's a long ways away. So big weekend at Alley P on Sunday especially. Pete Incaviglia is coming out to throw the first pitch. He's going to be signing posters, kind of a little tribute to Alley P.
That's awesome.
He played here for 3 seasons, a 2-time All-American, 83 through 85. As I mentioned, throwing out the first pitch on Sunday, it's a noon start time, so be sure to get out and see that. But Logan, in 3 seasons at Oklahoma State, 100 home runs. He batted .398, 324 RBIs. 100 home runs are still an NCAA record. But in 1985, he set another NCAA record, 48 home runs and 143 RBIs in 85 alone.
That's awesome.
That's a legend right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a legend.
Absolutely.
So they dropped the midweek contest, obviously, to Central Arkansas 8-4. Was not a great pitching.
No.
Not good at all.
No, and that score's a little misleading. They clawed back a little bit, but they were down 8-0 for a big chunk of that game.
Yeah, 7 runs, and I believe it was the 4th inning they gave up. So not great. So the Cowboys play host to West Virginia this weekend. The Cowboys are sitting at 18-9. West Virginia 17-11. Last weekend, the Mountaineers get a series win over Oklahoma. Never going to complain about that.
Right.
But the Cowboys are atop the Big 12 standings right now. But this will be a little difficult because I think you have that midweek contest. That's got to rattle you a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many games in a college baseball season, but how can that not get to you just a little bit?
Yeah, maybe it doesn't shake you a lot, but it might have you thinking when you're going onto the plate or you're getting ready for this game, like, man, we played terribly earlier this week. Hopefully they can just brush it off, act business as usual, because they've been playing really up until that point. They didn't have a bad loss.
Right.
It's not like they were just totally, dominated or played terribly. But that Central Arkansas game, that was an enigma. So hopefully it doesn't affect them too much and they can just brush it off and win the series. I don't expect a sweep. I don't know the last time the Cowboys have swept a Big 12 opponent this year. They swept Kansas State, so I think they'll beat West Virginia in the series, but not a sweep.
So 2-1. You think they'll win tonight? Lose Saturday, win Sunday. Lose the first one, win the last 2.
I think they'll win the first 2. Or no, yeah, I think they'll win the first 2. I think it'll be a little shaky in the first one, but they'll come out with the win and then win the second one.
Well, they've got to get right on the mound, and I think the bats will take care of the rest of it.
Right.
And that's how baseball works. But that's what this team struggled with at times this season. But still a top 25 team, and they're atop the Big 12. So hopefully they can get that one. I'm with you. I think they'll take 2 out of 3, and a series win is good enough right now. The Cowgirls, on the other hand, they're playing really good softball, but they drop a midweek contest to UT Arlington for the 2nd year in a row, 2-1. I feel like either the Cowgirls are run ruling a team or they're losing 2-1.
Right. Yeah. It's the weird inconsistencies with the bats. Like you said, they run ruled Texas, Reed, and then they score 1 run against UT Arlington.
It's frustrating.
It is. It's confusing. They've got a doubleheader coming up tonight against Kansas. Due to the weather, they're going to try and play another game on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to actually do that. But and doubleheaders are weird anyway. So that kind of, like we said, this with the Cowboys, this midweek loss might rattle them. Playing a doubleheader, it's just a weird combination. Hopefully the Cowgirls can get it in order.
I'm just gonna say this now. I feel sorry for the Kansas Jayhawks because
you they're gonna come out?
You drop a game to let's be honest. They're 14-21. The Cowgirls are far superior to Kansas.
Yeah.
But when you drop that midweek contest, and this team that you heard, especially in the preseason, especially early on, they think they can make this next step.
Yeah.
They think they can go all the way. They're confident. I don't think they're going to be happy after dropping that game to UT Arlington. There's high expectations. A 14-21 Kansas team. I think they run ruled the Jayhawks twice this weekend. I think they'll sweep the Jayhawks.
2 in a row?
2 in a row. I don't know. I think if they get the game on Saturday, I think that they will run rule Saturday, and they will run rule the second game tonight. I think the first one will not run rule, but I think it'll be a sizable victory for the Oklahoma State Cowgirls.
I certainly hope so.
And by the way, tonight they are handing out jerseys, a half shirt, half jersey, in honor of the 1959 National Championship team at Alley P. First pitch is at 6:05. First 500 fans get that T-shirt or jersey, whatever you want to call it.
I like it.
So if you're one of the first 500, get out there. You'll get that T-shirt to celebrate the 59 National Championship team. So there's a lot going on at Oklahoma State. This next week, Victor Hovland's going down to Augusta to play in the Masters. We'll break that down next week, but that's got to be he's calm, cool, and collected as most golfers are, but that's got to be an incredible moment when he goes down the lane at Augusta National.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like it's like that with every Ricky Fowler, Tiger Woods. It doesn't matter who you are. When you're playing in Augusta, maybe not for Phil Mickelson, because I feel like he plays there every week. But, when you step on that course, especially in April, it's just different.
Yeah, it is an incredible tournament. So we'll break that down next week. Some quick headlines here.
You got an early prediction? We'll wait till next week. We can wait till next week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch some golf this weekend. Ricky Fowler, let's give the Oklahoma State pick. Quick headlines. Josh Rosen expected to be at Cardinals workout. The rumors of Kyler Murray is going to be the first overall pick.
Yeah.
But he is supposed to report. Jerry Stackhouse gets the job at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was absolutely awful.
Sorry, Levi.
What was he?
Levi wanted him to be I believe he wanted him to be the Thunder coach.
Well, he did a great job in the G League. The Lakers, Lonzo Ball fires his agent, but it apparently wasn't in relation to this. But that's kind of hard to buy after.
LeVar's still calling the shots. LeVar wants to find an agent that can get all his sons on one team.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a weekend break. We'll be back on Monday to break down the Final Four and every other headline going in and around the country. But thank you again to Brett McMurphy.
Yeah.
Incredible opportunity, great interview. So we will see you on Monday. Thank you for watching One-on-One. We'll see you then.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.